Well, good evening, everyone. Just finished watching Heroes, and it's called One of Us for One of Them. Starts out where Siler finds out his real name is Gabriel, and his mother is the mother of Noah and Peter. So then it goes to Stacy sitting in a room, and she's trying out her new power, where she used to be like super strong, like the Hulk. She touches a rose and sees it freeze, dry freeze, and breaks apart and stuff. Then Noah, Claire's father, he goes back to cell block 5, where they keep all of the special people with all the special powers, where Peter had put his body of today inside one of these bad guys. Now, Noah's mom has gotten Siler to try and become more Gabriel, a good guy, and has told Noah that Gabriel's going to be working with him. And then it goes over back to where Claire lives, and her stepmother's telling her, well, you got to go to school, and she's saying, well, what's the sense in that? I don't why even try being a regular person anymore, because I'm not a regular person. So then it switches over to Hero. He's chasing that speedster girl who stole the half of the formula, that the hero needs to save the world with. And now they're in Japan somewhere. Now it goes back to Claire, who is telling a real mother who controls like fire and stuff that she wants to help, and she wants her real mom to teach her how to help. And then it switches back to the bank robbery. Now there's a bank robbery going on. All the guys that have broken out of Cell 5, they've taken over this bank. They're going to rob the bank and everything. Now the good guy Peter, is stuck in one of these bad guys' bodies, right? So that's going on, and they switch over to Africa, where the African guy who's taking the cop on a spirit walk, he ends up being the new painter. Remember the painter who could paint the future? So he's the painter for this series, and he's been painting the future all this time. And you get to where all the paintings are, where this African guy lives, and he tells the cop guy that the cop guy sees himself holding a baby and says, "Oh, is that my future?" And the African guy says, "No, the future has changed." Then whites that all out and starts painting a new painting. Goes back to the bank. Peter is still in one of the bad guys' bodies, right? And Siler, who is now Gabriel, and Noah show up at the bank. They're going to try and stop the bank robbery from going on. And then there's lots of iPhone commercials throughout the whole thing. The other bad guys catch on that the one bad guy is not a bad guy. He's a guy with Peter inside him. Switches back to Hero, who is in this movie theater, and he's trying to get the other half of this formula off of the black guy who has like superpowers over everybody, and whenever he's around, your superpowers don't work. Then back to the bank. Gabriel wants to help inside the bank. Noah tells him no, wait outside the bank. Then Stacy, who used to be Nikki, she's in New Orleans, and she's in a funeral parlor. She opens up a coffin. There's Nikki. Turns around. There's Nikki's son, right? So Nikki's son catches on that it's not really his mom. First he says, "Hey, Mom." She says, "No, I'm not your mom. My name's Stacy," right? And she's talking to the boy, and he tells her that he can talk to machines, and tries to help her with her new powers and stuff like that. Now, back to Japan, where Hero's trying to get the other half of the formula. The speedster girl shows up, and where he's come up with this plan where he's going to have his buddy be the usher while he's talking to the black guy who's got the other half of the formula in a bag. And his buddy runs up from behind and smashes him on the head with a big sandbag, knocks him out. Speedster runs up, grabs the half of the formula out of the briefcase, and runs off. Then they switch back to the bank. Peter from the future comes in, tells Peter, who looks like Peter to us, but he's really a big bulky guy who has the power of, like, when he yells, everything is like a super force. Everything just moves out of the way, right? He comes in, takes the Peter of now back into his body. Now that bad guy's back in his own body, and he's being a bad guy. And then Gabriel shows up inside the bank, even though Noah's told him to stay outside. He grabs that bad guy, and he's going to be Siler again. He's just going to cut the top of his head off and take his powers. Noah talks him out of it. They end up taking all the guys back to Block 5. Back to Claire's house. Claire's mom, real mom, has got her inside this container, and she's using fire. Now, the fire is eating up the oxygen inside the container, and Claire starts to suffocate. Mom's trying to teach her a lesson, that she's trying to tell her, why do you want to go out and fight bad guys, evil guys? And then she finally breaks down and says, well, I want to get Siler, I want to get the bad guy that hurt me, I want to get back and hurt him. So, the mom explains to Claire what life's really about, it's not about being a super person or anything, that it's time to just be a 17-year-old girl who's a cheerleader now, and go home and be a good girl. So she ends up just leaving the place. Now the African shows the cop what his future might be, and it doesn't look promising at the moment. But he also tells the cop that he has the power to change the future if he does the right thing. So Claire's two moms, the mom who brought her up and the real mom. The real mom's there to protect them while the dad's away, Noah's away, catching all the bad guys and putting them back in cell block 5. They have a talk, and then all of a sudden Claire comes down the stairs dressed in her, like a workout outfit, and she asks her mom, is it okay if I go out, and have a sleepover? She's not being arrogant or mean anymore. And she's just back to being a good girl again. Then Stacy, who has found out through the boy that her and Nikki were born in the same hospital, same time. She goes to meet this man, Zimmerman, and the door opens and she says, Dr. Zimmerman? And he says, yeah. Nikki? And she says, no, I'm Stacy. Oh, come in. And he says to her. And then she says, well, how do you know me? And he says, well, I created you. So you kind of get the feeling that he created Nikki and Stacy at the same time. And then it goes to kind of like the credits where they're saying, what drives us all to be who we are and everything like that. And then when that ends, they're back in cell block 5. And Siler is getting back into his cell because the mother just tells him to and give him the coveralls. And Noah's talking to the black guy, and the black guy is going, was Gabriel going to take my place? And Noah goes, well, not well, for the moment, till I find out his weakness, and then I'm going to kill him. And that's the end of the show. And that was Heroes for this week. Now I've moved a poster that used to live over there, and I did that poster that Brittany's in, that you can hardly see. That'll have the new the new version of Claire Hayden Pantier behind, who plays the cheerleader behind me. That the new one will be behind me, and then the cheerleader will be moved over to where that one is. But that's that. And I will thank you all for your participation. I hope it didn't go too long. I'll catch you back on the tube. Bye.